Hi there, Peter Nyman here, and welcome to Viking Monster Trucks video log number 5. Sorry I haven't done any video logs in a while here. It was in August last time I did one, and now it's February. And yeah, what's been happening since last time I did a video log was after that event I was at then, is that we went to Monster Race in Ed as Thor, and finally I got my double win there. And I was so excited about that because I've been dreaming about that ever since I was a little kid. I was like 5 years old the first time I went to Monster Race in Ed up in Sweden, and I always wanted to win there both days. And I've been fortunate enough to win there plenty of times, but only one day. I've never been able to do it 2 days in a row. There's always been something, some competitor beating me or something wrong with the truck. It's always been little thing, and it has been nagging me, and finally I got it, and I was so excited and thrilled about that. And after Ed, I went to Monster Jam Training Summit in Florida and checked Feld's awesome facility out, and I was honored to be invited there. It was a great summit, and it was so good to meet everybody there. Like all the world's best drivers were there, and it was really fun. And yeah, well, we haven't been idle to say the least here this winter. We have been upgrading the truck, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what we've been up to. We have reinforced the cradle, changed all the mounts here in the chassis, and I will show you a little bit of what we have done. This is where the old chassis mount, the lower mount, used to be, and this is the template I used to make these plates. And as you can see, they're way lower now. So I've moved them down 4 inches or 10 centimeters is what we have done. And we also, that meant that we could bring this one down. So this tube is new, and you can see that it's a hefty plate, and it's quite heavy too. But I'm not too worried about that because the extra weight is added in the middle of the truck and in the very bottom of it. So if you're going to add weight somewhere to a truck, it's down low. So hopefully that will create some better balance. And I will show you a little bit of one of the reasons why we finally could do this. This is the old mount, front left mount. And what happened in Ullevi, some of you guys might have seen that in the racing I crashed. And what happened was that we tore this ear open, and we had to repair it quickly. We welded another tab on here so we could run with the rest of the season. And if this wouldn't have happened, we would have made it out in time for freestyle. We were so close this year, like we were busting back there in the pits, and my crew guys and everybody involved, we had help from so many people. I can't list them all. I mean, it takes forever, but you guys know who you are. Thank you for all the help. We were so close. I was strapped in, ready to go out, but it was just a minor little detail that we had to fix, and we were just out of time. There was like a 5-minute fix, but the show was over, and I had to get out of the truck. It was a disappointment, but if this wouldn't have torn, we would have had time to fix everything else that broke on it. So I don't want that to happen again. So that's why we're upgrading from a mild steel with just a little washer spacer to this 10 millimeter or 3/8 really thick plate with welded steel bushings in here. This is axle grade steel, and this is like 3 times as strong as regular mild steel. Hopefully will never tear a mount again off the chassis. And as you can see, it's a little bit too heavy, I would say, but we don't have a nice laser or water jet here in our shop, so we cut this out the old-fashioned way with a acetylene torch and a big grinder. And since this is so strong steel, it takes forever to drill holes in it. And we're talking about 30 pounds, maybe something like that extra in weight, so I'm not too worried about it. And also we've been able to bring finally now. You see, I've been running this hole before, and everything has moved down 4 inches, as I said. And 4 inches is down to here, but now I've been able to use the lower mount, which is the equivalent of this mount, to try a little bit different geometry in the 4-link. It's going to be interesting to see if that works, but if I'm not happy with it, I can always reuse this old hole, or move it up, I mean, and so I can get back the same geometry I had before. The reason why we couldn't use this hole ever was because that the tube that went from this point here to there was in the way for this heavy 4-link bar, this thick 4-link bar. So we would touch that tube. So you can see now it's gone. So that's what's still left to do here with the cradle, is to put a tube up there. And I started in the rear here. It's nowhere done, but you can see that this tube is pretty much, I think, where it's going to go. This tube I just put there, and that one just temporarily to sort of muck up what I want it to be. You can see how I had to create an offset there in order to clear the 4-link bar at full droop. As I lifted it up, so it's fully out the suspension. But yeah, ultimately you kind of want to have a straight line from this one up to here. If you ever do a severe crash, and you get a hard hit up here on the chassis, you want it to be as straight as possible. But you see now it's not. Now it kind of goes like this. But it's always like that. If you're building something, you have to make the best you can do with what you have, and this is what I've come up with, and I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be strong. I'm really excited to try this out, and one of the reasons why I want to bring it down was that, if you can see here from the side now, even though the truck is sitting above ride height, actually, you can see that the 4-link bar is pretty much straight. And before, when it was way up there, at 4 inches higher up, it was at a pretty bad angle already at ride height, the 4-link bar. And what that does is that as the axle goes down, since this one is angled down, it will actually move the axle rearwards, which meant that the wheelbase changed quite a lot from all the way compressed to all the way drooped out. And this is the most I could move it now to make it to easily modify it like this. And that also meant that besides from that's not good at all for stability and handling, that also when it's angled down like this, is that it also creates a lot more stresses on the chassis. So when you get a hit like that, a lot of the force went up to the chassis, and it was hard on the heim. And because if you're walking with like a broom and you hit like something with it, and if it's angled down like that, it will tip over like this. But if you have it like this, it could bump over whatever obstacle you're heading towards. So this should make the suspension work a little bit better also. And I'm really excited to try it out. I can't wait for 2020 to start. And next thing we'll do this winter is also we're gonna have to replace all of the lower shock mounts that we have on here. That's basically the last mount that we haven't done anything with on this chassis since the beginning, and they're all crooked and bent, and I'm surprised they're still hanging in there. I tore the front one off in the crash in Ullevi in the racing, when I also broke the chassis mount, so it has been reinforced a little bit here temporarily. We were able to run the remainder of the season. But we're gonna put high strength steel in there too, with 8mm instead of 10 like here. There's gonna be 8mm high strength steel and some real bushes in there, and hopefully there will not bend anymore. Yeah, like I said, it's or maybe I didn't say it, but you can see right now it's Megalodon, and it's the 6th actually identity for this chassis since the beginning. And it used to be Blown Thunder when Trevor Stimson had it back in the UK. He was the one that put it together the first time. He only ran it for one show, and after that we brought the chassis here, and it became Thor pretty much immediately. And then we have run it as Earthshaker in Monster Jam lately, the last 2 seasons here. And we also had it as Monster Energy for display, and then El Toro Loco, and now it's Megalodon. So, yep. All right. Yeah, really excited for 2020. Hopefully I'll have some updates for you soon. So stay tuned on our Facebook page for a schedule for 2020. It seems like it's starting in May right now. And it's looking to be a great season. And yeah, hope to see you out there. And I promise I will make a video once this is done to show you guys what it looked like. Thank you. Bye.